Hey, this is Keith and Chenda from Keith and the Girl, and this is Comedy Matters TV with Jeffrey Gurian.
Shout out to SiriusXM. Shout out.
Boom. Hey, it's Jeffrey Gurian here for Comedy Matters TV and SiriusXM at the Ron and Fez Show with my special guest for today, Keith and the Girl. Keith Malley and Chenda.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Very fun. Jeffrey took us to meet Ron and Fez. We yapped a little bit and had a good time.
Yeah, and the hour, they actually kept you on longer than we usually do. You were such great guests.
Thank you.
It went so fast, right?
Yeah. Now you said it's different. How did you feel like it was different?
It was different because we talked about there was a lot of honesty. I mean, there's always honesty, but it was an interesting thing. I don't know, there was an interesting energy. We talked about, it's never planned, so we talk about whatever comes out.
I thought it was very welcoming. Like I felt comfortable to speak openly about maybe some more personal stuff, and we tried prying, but they're not they're not giving up their private situations at all.
No, it's very rare that people will touch on the topics that you guys talk about.
Right. Well, there is something with Keith and the Girl that we do like to be, open, and whatever weirdness is going on in our lives. It's nice. You feel like you have validation when you get feedback that so many other people are, and then to come here and try to bring that also, I thought made things exciting.
It did, and actually, I mean, you not like you took over the show, but you led the show in a different direction, which is interesting. I always get uncomfortable. I'm not used to being as honest as that. So when you guys brought up certain things, I started feeling my hands sweat. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing, yeah. Because I challenge myself that way sometimes to talk about things that I find uncomfortable.
Do you think
But you guys do that. I mean, you even said it yourself that it took you a while to get to that point where you were willing to be open and just say, screw it, whatever it is, people respond however they do. And I think it's one of the things, when I came to your show, and I met people from all over the world who were there, one of the things they said was that it was the honesty that drew them in. So maybe that's a helpful thing to do.
I think we ask people personal questions because that's the interesting part of people's lives, and I think we went so far in our show with it that I have trouble making smaller talk. I have trouble not prying in people's lives, and I have trouble because, to me, the interesting part is what makes you unique. And then it turns out the thing that makes you unique, so many other people are going through it, and that's why it's not as big a deal. Do you think we turned faces red a little too much? Were you nervous about your position?
Yeah, no, I was nervous about, I tend to be guarded about things because I'm not used to doing that kind of a show, But then Ron got in it too. And it's like, people always ask me things. People are fascinated by other people's lives. And, it takes a certain amount of time, I think. And I think it's helpful to people. People tend to identify. There's only so many things a human being can experience.
Right. So what did we veer off of that you were going to, what was your planning like that made it different?
Oh, I never have any plan.
Okay.
But what I thought was cool was you talked about your relationship with Lauren, and Lauren is so great, and I still sometimes I get confused and I refer to her as she, and I asked her and she said it's preferable to refer to her as he, and so she still has her female parts. Is that correct? So because I get confused sometimes.
Yes, he does.
He does. You see, I even said it just now. He has female parts.
Yes. Yes, that's the thing about being transgender is everyone's worried about what part you have between your legs, and that's the thing that we just saw Laverne Cox on the way in.
Yeah, isn't she beautiful? She's a she, right?
Yes.
There's no way to win, Jeffrey.
I can't win. I know, I get confused. Yeah.
But I noticed, somebody saw her coming into the building, dropped his city bike, dropped his backpack, and then just followed her with a camera, ran after her with a camera. And later I wanted to know, was he following her around? How did he just randomly find her? He was basically talking smack about her. He was like, she's not open, she's not a nice person, or whatever he was saying. And I was like, why not? And he said, you would think that she wants to talk about transgender issues. And I think that's really unfair. Someone's going into work You know, obviously you're in this building for work. They're going into a building for whatever reason, and you decide it's time to talk about their peepees and what's between their legs and what kind of surgery they have and how they feel about that.
And what a good conversation that would have been, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, what are you?
Yeah, and so
Well, who is he? Just some guy on the street?
Some
he
guy
wasn't
with
a reporter, right?
some guy with a camera
Yeah.
who she actually, when she saw his camera, she's like, "Oh, you're following me around today." She was very cute about it, like very, this is what's happening. And he decided that because she didn't want to talk about her genitalia or how she feels about it or how she felt about her transition, that she's a bitch. And I feel like, you know, there's, yes, we're open about a lot of things. We're open about our relationships, how we feel, what we're going through. But because you don't get the response randomly sticking a camera in someone's face, that doesn't make them not open to things. It's very unfair.
No, and there's a level of respect that you should afford people in general. People are just very disrespectful. They make comments when they're not called for. No one should ever yell out comments to anyone on the street. It's one of the things that really disturbs me. You mentioned that when you're walking along, guys are like, can I jump in between? I fucking hate guys that make comments. I see it all the time. People make comments to me. I see them make comments to other people. You know, some guy with a drinking a beer, slugging down a beer, yells out, "Hey, rock star," something to me. And I'm like,
Right.
you know,
So he's
just keep drinking, man. You know, just keep drinking, because that's your head, you know?
Yeah.
Like, at what level do you get where you feel that it's appropriate to yell out comments to strangers about their appearance?
you know,
About anything else, you know?
every here and again, I do tell someone, "Hey, that's a lovely scarf," or "Oh, wow, your hair's
Oh,
really
yes,
nice."
if it's something complimentary, of course.
But there's a difference, because when guys go, "Hey, that's a nice scarf you're wearing," you feel like you've been touched.
You've been
you know?
yeah, it's invasive.
Yeah, but there's a difference in the way that you interact with someone, and expecting a response from people that is completely different than the stuff that you're putting out is ridiculous. I don't know how we got on this, but
No, because it's a cool topic. Because it's about honesty. And you know what? I happen to be a fan of Laverne Cox, and I think she's beautiful. And I didn't even ask her to take a picture. I love to take pictures with people that I see. I didn't want to invade her space that way. I was just glad to see her, and I was able to tell her that I enjoyed her performance on the show. You know? But I was like respectful of that. You have to go by your intuition, how it feels to you.
Mhm.
And she was with a group of people going in someplace. You know, I saw Taylor Schilling come up here, and you know, from Orange Is the New Black, and I just love the show, and I like Laverne, and I like what she stands for.
Her last name is Cox.
Yeah,
That's-
isn't that wild?
That's too bad.
COX.
It's interesting, yeah. But I like the courage that it takes to go out into the world and be who you are.
And that the problem is you are not just that. She is an actress, and she wants to probably talk about what all other actors talk about.
No, but I think
instead-
she's here to talk about that, actually. I think she's here to talk. It's some out show. I
Yeah.
believe that she's here for that purpose, because there were other people in her group who also seemed to be maybe transgender. I'm not sure.
Yes.
But I think that's why she was here. She doesn't mind talking about that.
It's not.
But it should be her choice.
Yes, but it's not just that. It's she has the role. She understands that because she is one of the only, if not the only, very famous person who has transitioned, who identifies as trans, who we see as this thing,
And plays one. Plays one.
right. So you know, your level of fame, you kind of understand that, you know, you are representing such an enormous amount of people, and the pressure that has to be put on you for that, when you just want it to be the woman that you want it to be, the actor that you want it to be, but you're put in such a privileged position of making money doing your art. So you kind of take that along with you, and you do want to show everybody that this is not something that we yell at. This is not something that we negate. This is something that is, and that's just one aspect of it. And I think by talking about it, you just make it a little less taboo, a little less angry, a little less, you know, yelling and calling out names. And I think that's why we respect her, and that's why we thank her, because she's taking it for a lot of people.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
She is taking it for a lot of people. You guys are going to be in the New York Comedy Festival. I want to talk about that. November 8th, is it?
November 6th and November 8th. November 6th at the Creek in the Cave at 8 o'clock, followed by Lauren's show at 10 o'clock, and November...
And Lauren's show is called The Feminine Side.
Yes.
Huh?
And 2 days later, November 8th, we're going to be at UCB East at 4 p.m.
Oh, I love that place.
I concur. I will be there as well.
It's great to see you guys.
Good
Thanks so
seeing you.
much
Always
for coming
fun,
on
man.
with me.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
It's so good to see you always,
Thank
and I love that you like to take pictures with everybody, and I love that we will always know what everyone looks like every year of their life because of you. So thank you. We're happy to be in your pictures.
Thank you.